To find the percent of a number is pretty easy. If I want to know what is 15% of 40, there's a pretty simple way to figure this out. The first thing that I want to do is I want to take my percent and convert it to a decimal. The way I do that is by finding the invisible decimal in 15, which is at the end of the number, and then moving it 2 times to the left. Moving it 2 times to the left represents multiplying by 100, and we remember that percent is always out of 100, so 15% is the same as 0.15. Now what I'm saying is, what is 0.15, or 15/100ths, of 40? And the easy way to figure that out is by setting it up as a multiplication problem. 15/100ths times 40. Let's go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter which number goes up on top because both of them have 2 digits, and remember, when you multiply with decimals, you don't worry about lining up the decimals, you just line up your numbers and ignore your decimal until the end. Okay, now we can multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Okay, that was easy. Now we need to move over in our problem, and anytime we move over, we need a placeholder. Now I can multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Add them up. So I got 600. 15% of 40, it would not make sense if my answer was 600, because if I only want part of 40, then that means my answer is going to be less than 40, and 600 is way too big. The step that I haven't done yet is bring in my decimal. In my problem, I can see that there are 2 digits to the right of the decimal, which means in my answer, there need to be 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So I'm going to bring my decimal in 2 places. I got 6.00, which is the same thing as 6, right? $6, $6, it's the same thing. So what we just figured out is 15% of 40 is 6. Woo! Let's do another one. How about, what is 2.5% of 10? What is 2.5% of 10? Something you might notice about this is that my percent already has a decimal in it. That is absolutely okay. The way we convert that percent to a decimal is we don't have to find the invisible decimal in 2.5 because it's not invisible. It's right there, 2.5, right in between the 2 and the 5. I'm still going to grab out that decimal and move it 2 steps to the left. This time when I drop it off, though, I need a placeholder right there. So now I'm asking, what is 0.025, or 25 thousandths of 10? And the way I can figure that out is still by multiplying. 25 thousandths has 3 digits, so it needs to go on top, because 10 only has 2. And remember, when we multiply by decimals, we don't worry about lining up the decimals, we just put the longer number on top, the one with more digits, and line up our numbers on the right. Now I can go ahead and multiply out. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Piece of cake. I need to move over in my problem, and anytime I move over, I need a placeholder 0. Now let's multiply. 1 times 5, 5. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 0, 0. And now let's go ahead and add them up. Okay, this says 250. I was trying to figure out what 2.5% of 10 was. That's only part of 10, and if I don't need the whole thing, if I need part of it, it has to be less than 10. 250 is greater than 10, which means I've forgotten a step. The step that I still need to do here is bring in my decimal. I can see that there are 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal, which means I need to grab out my invisible decimal and bring it in 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and drop it off. I got 0.250, which is the same as 0.25. So what we just figured out is that 2.5% of 10 is 0.25. It's okay if you get a decimal. Don't freak out about that. 2.5% of 10 is just 25 cents. Your turn to practice.